Hello, my name is Starlight. Welcome to my YouTube channel, and I'm reaching out to all of you beautiful souls out there. I hope you're able to get out in nature like Starlight was earlier this. I've been out all day. I've been out all day. Starlight is just inspiring all of you to, make some time to get out in nature somewhere, because I know how it is. We all have excuses. But really, it really will help you, and you will benefit from it, and it, and you'll be like, I was stressed out before I went for that hike like Starlight told me to, or I went out and took a walk, and, I don't even know what I was upset about now. So, and it's so great to get out in nature around the animals or water, bring your family out, bring your dogs, and make sure your dog, has water. So anyway, if you are new to my YouTube channel, welcome, and you could find me on YouTube, and that this is at Starlight, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman, and you can give my videos a thumbs up, plus you could subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you can check out sorry about that, I had a distraction here, you could give my videos a thumbs up, and don't forget the notification bell like Starlight did, ding, ding, ding. Plus, you can leave me a message. Don't be afraid, don't be shy. Swing by and say hi to Starlight, ding, ding, ding. And you can also check out my playlist. Plus, don't forget you could share my videos with your family, your friends. Let me see. Let's see. A cow, moo, and a lion. Plus, not only that, you can also follow me on Instagram at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman Starlight. So today, I am making this video because I see this all over. Are you afraid to take your mask off? Now, some of you are like, now, Starlight, I'm not wearing, it's not COVID time, I'm not wearing a mask. But some of you, I just gave a lady the other day a whole box of masks for free. And, I don't even know how much they're worth because they're the expensive kind. But there's a lot of people where I am located, a lot of people are wearing a mask, like COVID kind of thing. So, but this is for both. This is for people that are wearing the mask still because of fear. They're wearing these, they feel more comfortable wearing them. And like I said, there's lots of people out in this area all over. I'm amazed, everywhere I go, and it's really sad is what happened with COVID, when that came out. And it affected so many people. Now there is like they have a name for it of some kind of, fear thing that people have about with the COVID and germs and getting sick and stuff like that. So there is a name for that out there now. So they have a new label to label those people that are out there now. And I met a lot of people on this journey that do wear the mask. So, and it's some people out in this area, which I'd never seen this in New York. Some of them are, I seen this the other day, and it was a lady. I don't know, maybe it was a guy. I'm just being funny with you. But the reason why I say I don't know if it was a guy or girl, because, and I'm not kidding you, their whole face and head was covered. Their eyes were cut out, because they're driving a car, right? But the whole entire head and under their eyes and, like their whole mouth, it's like a whole thing wrapped around their whole head, making sure nothing is going to get in there, for them to get sick. So, are you afraid to take your mask off? And some of you, you might understand, oh, yeah, why are these people still wearing a mask? And in some areas are worse than others. New York was not like this, when it comes to, about the average amount of people wearing a mask out here, it's big, you know, and there's things that I do notice. And even though race is an illusion, but out here, because where I am, there, even though race is an illusion, there's a lot of Asians and, you know, people that speak Spanish out here. So it's like a mixture of that, you know, besides all different kinds of people out here, but mainly this is a lot of, you know, Asian people out in this area. So a lot of them are wearing a mask. So that is what stands out in this area. So you gotta let go of fear. And, you know, if you raise your frequency and vibration, you know, and take good care of your health, you know, it's a fear thing that they did on the news and all over, you know. And I my heart goes out to those people that are still wearing the mask today. And, you know, now it's, you know, they're going to create different kind of things for people's faces. Like I see different ones out here. I've never seen them out in New York. So this area, they really are doing a lot different, you know, making different kind of mask out here where, you know, before you know it, people are going to look like mummies, you know, and they're just going to be wrapped right up, you know, and you're not going to, you know, imagine a world like that. And I don't really want to even take you there, but isn't it sad? You know, we need to see people's faces. I mean, now, you know, now it's like their security blanket is to have that, you know, I don't even know what the person looks like, you know. And not only this, out here in this area, they're not only covering up their whole head and only having like their eyes, you know, being able to see through the mask. They're wearing sunglasses over top of their eyes. So when they're out in public, you don't see nothing. You can't see their eyes. Everything is covered up, you know. So this is really a sad thing out here in this area, you know, and my heart does go to these, you know, these people out here that are dealing with this. But now I'm going to talk about people that, you know, you might not be wearing like a COVID mask or like a hospital mask, you know, like for COVID. But, you know, I've been talking to a man out in this area, and, you know, a lot of people out in this area, men and women, but mainly men, it seems like, is that letting them know that, you know, you can't really just trust everyone. And I still have to program myself that, you know, is because people are wearing a mask. And I want to tell you a story, but I can't tell you that story. But Starlight did some funny stuff a long time ago. But, you know, it's like, imagine that you're wearing a mask and then another mask and another mask. And, you know, so you got layers of different masks. And this is how it is really out there, is that, you know, like, people are wearing a mask, and then, you know, then they take the, you know, then the universe, God works on them, and then they start changing their life. They start working on themselves, and, you know, then they're able to let go of fear, and, you know, they start standing up for themselves, and they start getting brave, and they start using their voice, and then a mask goes off. Well, now there's another mask. You know, so now it's another mask, another version of them, because they don't know who they really are. They, you know, because long time ago, I really, you know, I thought I was pretty real. Starlight would admit to anything, you know, practically anything. You know, Starlight would open up and talk to strangers, talk to my family, talk to my kids, talk to my brother, my mom, my dad, you know, and Starlight was admitting to everything. I was like, you know, God knows everything. Why am I going to hide it? You know, I can't hide. And why should I feel guilty of what I did back there? You know, so Starlight was really working so hard on herself is by being real. So, and even though I thought I was really real, there was still a mask that I was hiding behind, because when I got out, and even though, I admitted to a lot of things, of all kinds of crazy stuff, just like I do when I make videos. I admit to all kinds of stuff. And I do this because this helps other people to, to open up. This is the whole thing. A lot of people are afraid to express themselves. And that's, because of the way society is, that, we don't trust people, and that's one of those reasons, is you need to get healed. You need to not worry about what other people think and what they're going to say. Because you know what? They got their shit together. Nobody's got their shit together. Even there's people out there that we might think they got their shit together, and then you find out that they don't have their. So you don't have to really get yourself all wrapped up thinking that other people are better than you. We're all going through something differently at a different stage and a different growth. So you gotta not worry. Like on Facebook or Instagram. You might know people on your Facebook or Instagram, and you might actually, when I say know, I mean that you've actually talked to them, got to know them. It could be a family member. And as you see what they put on, sorry, Starlight hurt her back today a little bit. So, you might be, whoops, now I got to scoot up a little. So, you might be watching a YouTube video or a Facebook page, they might put something out there, or on Instagram or wherever your family or friends, the people that you think are your friends, you might go on those social medias and you see what they're doing and you see what they're posting, but you know them at a deeper level than what the people on those social medias know this person. And you're like, that's not who they are. They're making it look like there's somebody that they're not. And you see that. That's because you see the realness that they're wearing a mask. They're making people think that they're a certain way. Now, that also can go a different way. Now, if they're working on themselves, maybe they're working on themselves. Maybe that's why you see a change. But if they're one way there on YouTube or Facebook and Instagram, one way there, and then, you get talking with them and they're a totally different person, well, then that's that layer of that mask. And even though you could see and understand that you see people being, fake, not real, or pretending to be someone that they're not, bam, then you got to look at yourself and are you wearing a mask? Am I wearing a mask? So as you grow and mature and, when you start working on yourself, and like with Starlight, I am who I am right now. But I'm going to be working and changing and growing, and then I'm going to be another version of myself and another better version of myself. So it's going to be, this is how the universe works, God works, is that it's layer after layer of letting go of things and, old programs. This is, we've been programmed to believe and think a certain way. And, most people are afraid to express themselves out in public or do certain things out in public. Oh, I don't want to do that out in public because why? Well, people are going to see me. I love to go jogging. There's people that won't go jogging because they're afraid that people are going to see them jogging. Well, that looks silly. When I see them, who cares? I see some out here. It's a lot different out here than in New York, but depending on what parts of New York you go. I notice people are more relaxed in the city areas. Now, if Starlight did some of the crazy stuff she does out in this areas out here, or where I've have done things before in different locations, if I went into a different town, people would look at me like I'm an alien. But in another area, everybody's doing their own thing out in that park. You got this person over there doing what is, I'm like, okay, I just seen a guy walking backwards today again, there's that guy, he's going to walk around that whole park backwards. So, hey, that's what he wants to do. I just don't want to see them getting hurt. Please do not get hurt walking backwards because there's hills. I mean, it's not just flat. And then there's, sometimes with the pavement, he's walking backwards up the hill, I'm like, and he's not a young guy, he's an older guy, so, I just hope that he makes each step, and who knows, he might have fell before, so, I see all kinds of stuff out here. A lot of Asian people out here that are doing their morning exercise. Normally in the morning, they're I'll tell you what, they're something. They are out there in the morning and it's cold out and they are doing it. Faithful. They're out there and they are doing their exercises, They're not afraid of what people think. I've seen some crazy moves, they do all these different things. I don't care what they do. But other people, like I couldn't do what they're doing. It doesn't even matter, like what people, I do some strange things out in public. And I'm like, you know what? That person is only going to see what I'm doing. And they're going to be gone. They're going like I was cleaning dishes in the bathroom today. So I'm going to explain so that you don't think Starlight does. I mean, I do some strange things out in public. And you know what? I realize that this is a matrix. It doesn't really matter. This is life is a stage. So, hey, might as well, have fun out here and, dance around, be yourself. But you guys are out there like, no, I don't want to do that. It's embarrassing. You're hiding behind a mask. You're like, no, how are you when you're home? Do you do anything crazy and all that? But then when you go outside, you're a different person. How are you at the house? How are you around your family? And now when you go around out in public, at the store, you might be a happy, fun type of guy or girl at the house with your family, always like this. And once you get in that car and head anywhere else, you're a totally different person. Why is that? Because you're wearing a mask. It's fear. Just like the people out here, and everywhere, wearing a mask like for COVID, it's fear. That's why they're wearing those masks. They're afraid that they're going to get the virus, even though, I don't know how it is out here. I've been out here for like 2 months right now. I have not gotten sick. I'm around everywhere, all over around here. So, are you afraid to take the mask off? I recently met somebody, out in this area, and, I had to try to teach the person that you're wearing a mask, or we can all grow at another better version of ourselves. So who you think you are right now, guess what? No matter where you are or where I am, there's another layer. It's continuously, no one in the whole world, we all have things to learn in this life. We all have things to let go of. We all have things that we have to face. We all have different aspects of ourselves that we have to love. Parts of us that we don't like. Like for Starlight, aging. I am young. I'm 25 forever. But, my skin is changing. And, some of you, like in different, all of us go through different changes, like your teeth, your hair, things are not quite the same. Your eyes change, now like Starlight has to wear glasses in order to read something, but you don't want, those changes are going to happen. We can't stop those from happening, but so, so your teeth are not the same, or you got a pimple on your face, but you don't want to go outside, you don't want to go anywhere because something happened to you, so then, you're afraid to be yourself. You're not loving yourself fully and accepting yourself, like Starlight, with her, these lines on my skin, there's nothing, I am exercising, but that's something that's going to happen naturally, and then there's people that get wrinkles on their faces, if they don't take care of their skin, they can help, and depending on what they're eating, besides they could, But you got to do that when you're young and all the way through, and to live a good life, live a pure, clean life. Not that you're going to be perfect, but I do definitely believe in life. If you've done a lot of really wrong stuff out in the world and you didn't keep your heart right, it changes all kinds of things. There's people that go around and they got a frown upside down because, they need a smile. And then there's people that I know that I never met, and, they're on YouTube, and I'm like, wow. I mean, he's not even smiling, but I could see a smile, because that means he's been laughing a lot. He's been, smiling a lot. So, you gotta love yourself, and you gotta be brave to, once you start working on yourself, and you're gonna grow, and it's like, your DNA and all that stuff is gonna change through time. When you meditate and you love yourself, all of it is gonna change. It's, like a process that's gonna happen, and you're gonna find yourself, like right now, I'm like, I don't even know who I am. Because I'm growing. I'm not the same person that I was, in 2016. Thanks to my mentor, Infinite Waters, Ralph Smart. I'm a different version. I look at myself, I'm like, wow, who is this girl now? It's a different me. It's still me. That's why I have my name Starlight. Because I'm doing the inner work. And you're like, wow, I look much, like healthier. And I get people, I just had a guy saying that to me today. I get women saying this all the time to me, everywhere I go. Wow, your skin. I'm trying to think. I went somewhere not too long ago, and I had to sign my name up for something, and the lady's like, wow, your skin looks so beautiful. The color, the tone, the glow that they see. And it's by working on myself. But, that is how you're going to let go of a mask that you're wearing, because you're not being really who you think you are. Just like you can pick it out there, pick out people that that they're wearing a mask. Well, you're wearing a mask too, because you're afraid to go out and do this and that. You don't want to, like, oh, I don't want to go out in public and do that. It doesn't really matter. Everybody's really in their own world, so you gotta let go of that fear, and you gotta, when you do the inner work, you're gonna start seeing yourself shine like a star, because you're working on yourself, and that there's beings out in this world like archangels and angels and all that stuff. What do you think they had to go through, to be, this is my own thing, is, to be an angel. They had to come back here and work, and after a while, they worked so much on themselves, like, I'm trying to think, ascending masters. Because, Jesus, it's being your real authentic self. It's not apologizing for who you are. It's just being who you are. And it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. So you can take the layer off and then work on yourself, love yourself, accept yourself, forgive yourself. Don't be hard on yourself. Don't be hard on other people, and then it's another layer, and when the moons, full moons and the new moons and the portals, that's actually helping you to let go of things that are no longer serving you, so you can rise in a higher, consciousness, as a human being. As, when you're working on yourself, you're going to be like, wow, I'm actually, when you're really serious and you've had enough, and you're not stuck in the matrix by doing what everybody else is doing. And when you say, I am going to work on myself, I am going to be, firm, I'm going to stay focused on my goals, I'm not letting anybody trip me up, bam, you're going to see all these changes, and you're going to love yourself even more. Like when I look in a mirror, I look at my eyes, I'm like, wow, my eyes have changed. You can't see it here on this camera here because the lighting and all that stuff. But when the sun shines in and when people see me, they see it. They might not understand what they're seeing, but they notice, what is up with this girl? And people come to me all the time. I just had a man this morning, that, curiosity. So anyway, don't be afraid to take the mask off, and if you really want to shine like a star like you are, you got to do the work, and it does take a lot of patience. But in time, when you're really focused on doing that, you'd be amazed at how everything with your body is going to change. People are not going to recognize you anymore. They're going to say, wow. They might think, a lot of times we see something in other people, but it's because they're doing some kind of change, where you're like, huh, they look different today. Their aura or their glow. So don't be afraid to take those masks off. And even if you're wearing a COVID mask, is you got to let love guide you and not fear, and you really, you don't have to have your life be ended by COVID. Today, I could have got hit in a car accident. I always pray for Archangel Raphael and Archangel Michael. I was protected. I could have gotten in a car accident today and not even be here. So don't fear what, God's already got it all taken care of. It doesn't mean all these people wearing a mask that they're all going to die of COVID because, if they don't wear a mask. That doesn't, they could be here for the rest of their life and, up into their hundreds. It doesn't mean that you're going to have your life end, because of COVID. So not all these people wearing a mask that's not how they're going to end their life here on planet Earth. God has different things, how we're going to leave this world. Not that we're going to die. It's just that, energy never dies. But, so don't be afraid of taking that mask off, is that you got to trust and believe. If your trust is not, in that and you are afraid, that's what's going to get you sick. Is because it's a low frequency. It's not a high frequency. So you got to believe and trust that it's not going to happen. Besides, take good care of yourself. I love you so much. And you could give this video a thumbs up. You could subscribe to my YouTube channel. Plus, you can leave me a message down below. Beep, beep, beep. Don't be afraid. Don't be shy. Swing by and say, hi, Starlight. Or, say hello. And also, you can share my videos with your family, your friends. Let me see, a turtle plus a beaver. And you can also check out my playlist. Plus, you can follow me on Instagram at 1995 Starlight or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K, Digna Starlight. I love you all. And you know what? Don't be afraid. When you work on yourself and you look within and you start learning how to get healed, I got videos all over on my YouTube channel, different things that can help you out so you can, let love guide you, not fear, and let go of those thought patterns, those, beliefs that you have that you've got to wear that mask because, you could wear the mask, and I'm not saying that this would happen, that mask is not really going to save you in some ways, So I love you so much. This is Starlight. Namaste. This is Starlight, love, light, and peace.